Hello everybody, this is the story of my latest horse that I bought, and it all begins with this racer, Katie Collins. Katie got her first horse when she was just 15. Katie's parents owned Baroness's racetrack. Her aunt was the Baroness, but she didn't like to mention that. Katie got her most perfect first horse, Cinderbeam. A not very racehorse gelding. Katie was determined to make him shine as a racehorse. When he was in the paddock, Katie studied how he moved to see if his movements of how he did it would slow him down in racing. She checked him over for confirmation and realized he'd be perfect. On their first run, Katie realized how fast the gelding was, flying around like there's no tomorrow. Katie loved this gelding. He was so fast, too. He went around the track in less time than the other racehorses that Katie had ridden did. Katie was delighted with this horse. For their first race, she was not delighted. She was so nervous. But once the bell rang, all those nerves disappeared. It was just her and Cinder. They raced around the track. No one was even able to catch up with them. Cinder won. Grace was delighted. It was the best race of her life. Then it was qualifications for the biggest race she had ever run at the moment. She aced that. On Cinder, she could do anything. When she lined up for that race, she was nervous. But again, the bell rang, and it was just her and Cinder. They soared over the jumps. Cinder and she were unstoppable. Cinder had such bravery towards jumps. But after one of the jumps, tragedy happened. Cinder stumbled, got to his feet though, but he let out such a whinny of pain, the whole stadium could have heard it. Katie fell off, and he put his neck down, as he always did before lying down. It was under 1 minute, even before the paramedics came for him and Katie. He was gone. Heaven had a new angel at night. Katie was so sad. She didn't know what she'd do without her beloved gelding to be by her side. It was horrible to see him lying on the ground at the vet table. But Katie wasn't ready to give up her racing dream yet, even though her childhood pony had passed. She went to see another horse after a year. After grieving, she discovered this beautiful chestnut mare. She fell in love with her. She named her Crimson Queen. She rode that mare bareback at first because she was too young to have a saddle. And she wasn't as fast as Cinder was, but that's what training was for, right? The mare had the heart, the spirit, and the determination. And her spirit was that she could do anything just to make her rider happy. After training, Katie decided that this mare was ready for some bigger training. Steps to success. After a year of training, he put a saddle on the mare and they started doing hill work, jumping over bricks and galloping up and down hills. The mare never disappointed. So fast and flighty. At this point, she was the same speed as Cinder. So they decided to do some more of this and join a race. The day of the race day qualifications, Katie was nervous. And so was Crimson. She caught up to that nervousness. But she comforted Katie by giving her lots of nuzzles and letting Katie hug her. When they lined up again, the bell rang and they were off. Katie was so nervous as they came up to the jump where the fateful day that her childhood beloved pony passed. Crimson sensed this, but she didn't let that defeat her. She soared over that jump with many people behind her, horses behind her, sorry. They won that qualification race. And boy, were they happy. But then it was time for the real deal. Grace had visors on, for they'd be going at real big speed. They're riding for number 4. It was gonna be crazy. They warmed up, and Crimson knew from the tension in the air that she had to do good for this race. It was like life and death was hanging in the air. But it was just a dramatic race. It was the same thing for racers. They were off, but the black horse was in front, so you can see its tail, but taunting both of them. But Crimson gave it her all, and ran like she never ran before. They won the biggest race that Katie could have imagined. The race she always wanted to win. It was a big celebration. But the mare was 5, and Katie didn't want her to suffer from heart failure or anything like that if they kept racing. The mare couldn't take it all when she was 5. It'd be too much to run every single week. So after lots of tears and hugs and kisses for the mare, Crimson was sold. She thought she'd be sold to a racer, but she was sold to Elena Walters, a dressage rider. Elena saw a real future dressage champion in Crimson. She kept the name, so at least Crimson had something familiar. She popped the dressage saddle on, and the saddle pad that Crimson was familiar with Katie riding her. But Elena was disgusted by the combination of a jumping saddle and dressage saddle. So she just put a dressage saddle on and the bridle would be using for dressage, just to get me comfortable. Sorry. Not the dressage bridle. But as I might have done before, now I'm gonna put it in... I might have put that in the mare's point of view. I just felt like doing it. Anyway, back to mine. She put the bridle that Crimson was familiar with, thankfully, and started hacking out. It was a nice day, nice and sunny. Would have been perfect for some racing, Crimson thought. But it was just hacking day, she guessed. Elena rode with a kind hand, and she was nice. But in dressage, she was pretty strict. She didn't have the best outfits for... The outfits were really fancy. Her hair kinda does matched it, but that doesn't matter. It was very complex moves. But I kinda got into it. Well, after a year or 2. But after 1 year, I wasn't into it. Even less than a year. Sorry. Crimson's perspective again. But after a while, a few months, Crimson realized it wasn't for her. So she tried to give the signs to Elena. Her ears back, her tail swishing, some low, annoyed snorts, but Elena didn't notice. Or at least she didn't care. So Crimson let her feelings out with an enormous book in front of the judges. And another, and a rare. Elena was so frustrated. With one other book, she was on the ground. I thought Elena would be mad at Crimson, but thankfully she wasn't. She gave the mare lots of hugs, and unbraided her braids from the show, and talked while she did. She said that she wanted Crimson to have a home that she'd love, and she could do any discipline she'd like without being fully into it. She stroked my neck and gave me a few cuddles. She put her head on my cheek and started crying. I let her do it and closed my eyes. I knew I was being sold again. As I walked past the stable that day, I saw an ad for me. Crimson Queen, mare, 17 hands high, 6 years old, and dressage. Now, I put that into Crimson's perspective. I'm sorry, I'm getting confused, but anyway. Crimson was being sold, and I saw her, and I needed her. She came to Starshine Ranch to me, and as soon as I saw her, I knew that I loved her. We had a bond. We loved each other. And she seemed to have an instant liking to me. So while after having her now, and I'm safe to say, she's a dream. Amazing jumping skills. Dressage, although I don't do much dressage with her, and cross country. She's the perfect mare. I couldn't want anything more from her. I hope I have many more adventures with you, Crimson. And I'm so happy I got you. That's the end of my beautiful mare story. Bye!